Alright, so we've all heard of the Legend of Zelda games, and they're well known for their quality, so I'm going to try and keep things brief. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is what you'd get if you tried to make a game like A Link to the Past or Link's Awakening today. Nintendo has somehow managed to make an old school style feel simultaneously modern and fun, and is an excellent addition to the series, pulling it in a new direction. Except for the very beginning of the game, there's very little hand-holding, and you're pretty free to go wherever and do whatever you want. This makes it really fun to explore and find new skills that might allow you to traverse dungeons in ways the developers may not have intended, and because you can choose which sections of the main quest you want to do in different orders, it helps make subsequent playthroughs still feel fresh and interesting. I really enjoyed the moment-to-moment gameplay in Echoes of Wisdom, and I was really impressed with the amount of detail that went into the game, particularly with the interactions between objects. Things like being able to drop a wooden box into a body of water for it to float to the top, or how hydrosols grew in water is really nice, and I appreciated some of the smaller things like the way the camera's FOV expanded if you moved away from bosses. While some echo skills do feel more useful than others, I still had to figure out different approaches for each boss and dungeon, and I rarely thought that things felt stale except for when I was going back to collect all the collectibles I'd been missing. Another thing I really enjoyed about Echoes of Wisdom was that we finally got to play as Zelda for once, and it was great to see her not be a damsel in distress and actually rescue Link for once. I also really liked seeing Hyrule through her perspective and learning more about Link's past, and I was pleasantly surprised at how cogent and wholesome the story turned out to be with its own set of twists and turns. The resolution of the story is very satisfying, and with Echoes of Wisdom's focus on friendship and relationships, it makes it a very easy recommendation for adults and children alike. One thing which really surprised me in Echoes of Wisdom is that Zelda can temporarily gain access to Link's powers, so you can kind of go around still playing it like a traditional Zelda game, but I actually had a lot more fun in the moment-to-moment gameplay controlling Zelda and summoning objects and minions to do her bidding. With all that being said, one of the things I'm most excited for after having played Echoes of Wisdom is what the future could bring. I'd absolutely love another Legend of Zelda title that's co-op, or where you could switch between Zelda and Link to traverse through dungeons together, and Echoes of Wisdom has really thrown open the door of possibilities on what a Legend of Zelda title could be. The way that I rate games is on a bell curve, with a 5 being a fun, average, and enjoyable game, with 6s and above being games that stand a cut progressively above the rest, and 4s and below being reserved for games that are flawed or actively predatory toward the player. A 10 would be almost unattainably perfect, with there being absolutely nothing I think that could be changed or improved. With this in mind, I'd give The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom a solid 9 out of 10. Honestly, I only had very minor complaints about Echoes of Wisdom, and that I think the UI could have been better with an improved hotbar for summoning echoes, a more precise way to toggle the lock-on between objects and enemies, and for more responsive horse riding controls for navigating the overworld. My biggest complaint, if you can even call it that, is that I wish there was more. Even so, it'll probably take most players between 20 and 40 hours to complete, and if you want to see my experience playing the game, it's archived under the live section of my channel. Nintendo's truly done a great job breathing new life into a classic formula, and if you're a fan of the old school Zelda games, I highly recommend picking this one up. And if you're not a fan of the old school Zelda games, I'd still recommend picking this one up simply because it's a fun, quality game. And that's about as much as I can say about that. Thanks for watching. I'd also like to give a big shout out to my patrons and channel members, as your guys' support helps guilt trip me into making more content like this. If you enjoyed this review, please let me know with a like, comment, or a sub, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Until next time, take care, stay safe, Last Protagonist out.